Today we explore the physics of levitation using sound, magnetism, and electricity, and discover why these methods work but have fundamental limits. Three physical phenomena can levitate objects: acoustic pressure from sound waves, magnetic forces from strong fields, and electric forces from charged particles. Let us begin with acoustic levitation, where sound waves create standing pressure patterns in air. When two sound waves traveling in opposite directions meet, they create a standing wave with nodes of low pressure and antinodes of high pressure. A small object placed at a pressure node experiences forces from all directions that push it toward the center, creating a stable levitation point. What frequency do we need? The wavelength must match the object size, typically ultrasound between 20 and 40 kilohertz. Using the wave equation, wavelength equals velocity over frequency. At 40 kilohertz, the wavelength is about 8.6 millimeters. An ultrasonic transducer emits high-frequency sound waves upward, and a reflector above creates the standing wave pattern that traps small objects. Now the critical question: could we levitate a human being using acoustic levitation? A typical human has a mass of 70 kilograms. Let us calculate what this would require. The gravitational force is mass times g, giving 686 newtons that must be balanced by acoustic radiation pressure. Acoustic radiation pressure equals 2 alpha I over c, where alpha is absorption coefficient and I is intensity. Rearranging, the required intensity is force over area times c over 2 alpha. A human body has roughly 1.8 square meters of surface area. This gives an intensity of about 130,000 watts per square meter. The total power needed is intensity times area, approximately 234 kilowatts, just for one person. But power is not the only problem. We need low frequencies for large wavelengths to match human scale. For a wavelength of 2 meters to support a human body, we need a frequency around 172 Hz. This requires enormous speaker arrays, each several meters across, producing intense low-frequency sound. At these power levels, heat dissipation becomes catastrophic. Most energy converts to heat in the air. About 90% of the power becomes heat, roughly 210 kilowatts heating the surrounding air. This heat would quickly become lethal, creating temperatures that would cook the person being levitated. To levitate multiple people or create a platform would scale power requirements into the gigawatt range, comparable to a nuclear power plant. Now let us examine magnetic levitation, which uses magnetic forces to counteract gravity. Magnetic levitation trains use powerful electromagnets in the track and train that repel each other, lifting the train above the rails. Two fundamentally different types of magnetic levitation exist, using ferromagnetism or diamagnetism. Ferromagnetic materials are attracted to magnets and require active stabilization, while diamagnetic materials are weakly repelled and can be passively stable. Can we levitate living organisms using magnetism? Yes, but it requires extreme fields. In 1997, scientists levitated a live frog using a 16 Tesla magnetic field, demonstrating diamagnetic levitation of biological tissue. The magnetic force equals chi times volume times B times the gradient of B, where chi is magnetic susceptibility. Water and organic tissue are weakly diamagnetic with susceptibility around -9 times 10 to the -6. This small susceptibility means very strong fields are needed for levitation. What magnetic field strength would we need to levitate a human being? Setting magnetic force equal to weight, B times gradient of B equals mg over chi times volume. For a 70 kilogram person with volume 0.07 cubic meters, we need B times gradient around 1 billion Tesla squared per meter. This corresponds to a field of about 30 Tesla, with a gradient of 30 Tesla per meter. A 30 Tesla field is at the absolute limit of modern superconducting magnet technology, requiring enormous superconducting coils. The power requirements to create and maintain such fields are gigantic. The energy stored in the magnetic field is B squared over 2 mu 0 times volume. For a 10 cubic meter field volume, this is about 3.6 gigajoules of stored energy. Even with superconductors, Resistive losses in the power supply and refrigeration require gigawatts of continuous power. Massive cryogenic cooling systems would be needed to maintain superconducting temperatures at liquid helium levels. Strong magnetic fields also have biological effects that we must consider. Magnetic fields above 10 Tesla can interfere with nerve signal transmission and cause disorientation. Now we turn to electric levitation, where electric charges create repulsive forces. Some spiders use electric fields to fly. They release silk threads that become charged and are repelled by Earth's electric field. How exactly does this spider ballooning work? The mechanism is fascinating. Earth's surface is negatively charged, creating a vertical electric field of about 100 volts per meter pointing downward. The atmospheric electric field near Earth's surface is approximately 100 volts per meter. Spider silk becomes positively charged through triboelectric effects as it leaves a spinneret. The electric force on the charged silk is simply charge times electric field. A typical spider silk strand carries a charge of about 1 picocoulomb. This creates a force of about 100 piconewtons, enough to lift a spider weighing a few milligrams. Could humans use a similar electric levitation technique? Let us calculate what would be required. To levitate a 70-kilogram person in Earth's 100 volt per meter field requires a charge of 6.86 coulombs. This is an absolutely enormous amount of charge, millions of times larger than typical static charges. A human body carrying 6.86 coulombs would have charge distributed over the surface, creating an intense electric field. The electric potential will be about 200 billion volts, using the point charge approximation. Air breaks down and conducts at field strengths around 3 million volts per meter. This breakdown field is only 3 megavolts per meter. Long before reaching the needed charge, lightning would arc from the person to ground, creating the fatal discharge. In fact, multiple lightning bolts would continuously strike the charged person, making this approach instantly lethal. Perhaps we could use a much stronger external electric field instead of Earth's weak field. The required field is weight over safe charge. If we limit charge to, say, 0.01 coulombs, we would need an electric field of 600 volts per meter. This still exceeds air breakdown voltage by a factor of 23, causing continuous arcing and corona discharge. Even in a vacuum chamber with electrode plates, the energy requirements and safety issues remain prohibitive. Despite these limitations for human levitation, these technologies have powerful practical applications. Acoustic levitation enables contactless handling of samples, preventing contamination in pharmaceutical and materials research. Why is contactless handling so important in science and industry? Without container walls, there is no contamination from the container material affecting sensitive chemical reactions. Scientists can study surface tension, crystallization, and fluid dynamics without interference from surfaces. Levitated droplets can be heated, cooled, and analyzed spectroscopically without any support structure interfering. Magnetic bearings eliminate friction in high-speed rotating machinery. Magnetic bearings use controlled electromagnets to suspend a rotating shaft without any physical contact. Zero friction means no mechanical wear, no need for lubrication, and no particle generation. This is critical for vacuum systems, semiconductor manufacturing, and aerospace applications where contamination is unacceptable. Magnetic bearings enable rotation speeds exceeding 100,000 revolutions per minute. Magnetic levitation trains achieve speeds over 600 kilometers per hour with minimal noise and vibration. Because magnetic levitation eliminates rolling friction, energy efficiency actually improves at high speeds. The only remaining resistance is air drag, proportional to velocity squared. For microscopic objects, optical traps and ion traps provide incredibly precise levitation. Focus laser beams create optical traps that can hold particles ranging from atoms to living cells with nanometer precision. These traps are essential tools in quantum physics for creating ultra-cold atoms and studying quantum phenomena. The development of optical tweezers was recognized with the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2018. In conclusion, fundamental physics sets hard limits on levitation technologies. All three methods work beautifully for small objects, but face insurmountable power, heat, and safety barriers for human-scale levitation. Power requirements scale with the cube of linear dimensions, making human levitation require millions of times more power. Power scales as length cubed because both mass and required field strength increase with size. At human scale, heat dissipation becomes physically unmanageable, regardless of the levitation method chosen. Safety concerns are not engineering problems, but fundamental physics limitations on energy density near humans. Real applications focus on microscale precision, sample purity, frictionless rotation, efficient transport, and fundamental research. These applications are genuinely transforming technology in materials, science, quantum physics, manufacturing, and transportation. But levitating humans for personal flight remains firmly in the realm of science fiction, not because we lack engineering skill, but because physics forbids it at reasonable power and safety levels. The laws of thermodynamics, electromagnetism, and fluid dynamics create absolute barriers that no amount of engineering can overcome. Levitation works remarkably well, but physical scale matters fundamentally, and humans are simply too large and massive for these elegant techniques to be practical or safe.